Alright guys, so in this video, we are going to be talking about anamorphics and anamorphic settings and aspect ratio. Over the past week, I've gotten 5 different questions from 5 different people on Instagram and YouTube regarding anamorphics and aspect ratios. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not an expert. I'm just a YouTuber like, a lot of you guys out there. And what I'm going to show you right now and what I'm going to try to explain is how I do anamorphics in post, how I desqueeze my footage, and how I like to shoot my footage. But yeah, I'm going to try to answer pretty much all of the questions that I got this past week about anamorphics. If I miss something, let me know. And all right, without further ado, we are in DaVinci Resolve 16. I have some clips loaded here for you guys, and I'm going to explain each and every one of them. Let me go ahead and close my scopes. Okay, so before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about what anamorphic is as far as aspect ratio goes, because this is very, very important. So let's go ahead and go to our library. So according to the mighty Wikipedia, an anamorphic aspect ratio is 235, 239, or 24. Okay, without looking into too much detail, that's what anamorphic is. Okay, obviously there's a lot more anamorphic aspect ratios, but what you're looking at is the standard today. So with that being said, we're going to go to another website, EOS HD, and I am not affiliated with these guys. I just like going here for information. So this article right here from 2011 helped me a lot at understanding. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. I want you to look at the examples he has here. 3.55, I'm sorry, ignore the resolution for now. Only look at the aspect ratio. You got a 3.55, 2.66, 235, and as we saw, that's also 239 and 2.4. Okay, we have 16 by 9. We have 4:3, which is old school. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but I want you to take a look at this. Before you start anything in DaVinci Resolve, you need to have this in mind. What do you want your final video to look like? What do you want your anamorphic to look like? So what we're going to do is start with the 3.55. Okay, how do you get a 3.55 widescreen? This is probably how Tomato Jet sees everything in the world, just super wide. When a 2x anamorphic lens is used, you get more reasonable image from 4:3. Okay, and not very wide 3.55 you would otherwise get from 69. So what this is saying is, if you're using a 2x anamorphic lens, which should be on your lens, you should know what stretch that lens has. If you use a 2x anamorphic lens on a 16 by 9 resolution, when you desqueeze that footage, it's gonna look like this, a 3.55 to 1. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that to see if it's true. So along all of these files, oh, by the way, shout out to another YouTuber for giving me this file here. I don't want to butcher this name, but it's Skeen19 Films. He provided me some vazen 40mm on a Blackmagic Pocket 4K since I don't have that lens anymore. Big thanks to you, man. Thanks for helping me out. But you're going to see that this right here is really going to help explain this a little bit better. So the first goal is 3.55. How do we get that aspect ratio? First thing we're going to do is go bottom right, the little gear. We have to change our resolution, okay? Because if not, nothing is going to make sense. So what we're going to do now is divide 1920 by 3.55. All right, so I'm going to do this in my head real quick. 1920 divided by 3.55. 540.8. I would say round that off to 540. Okay? So let's go 1920 by 540. Save. Bam. See how that matches with this 3.55? Super wide. That's ridiculous. And obviously this is going to be wrong. Okay, so now we're going to find a 16 by 9 footage with a 2x stretch anamorphic lens. So let's go ahead and see where our... Oh, okay, here we go. So this shot here of the Christmas market, probably one of my favorite anamorphic movies I've ever done, travel video, was shot with the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K in 16 by 9 resolution, 3840 by 2160. And this has a 2x stretch of the Sankor 16 Charlie, which is my favorite anamorphic, I guess. It's a DIY anamorphic. It's horrible as far as, you know, trying to use it, but the image you get out of it, you just can't beat for the price. Anyway, this is our footage, okay? So what we're going to do now is right-click it. We're going to go to Clip Attributes. Under the Video tab, we're going to change Pixel Aspect Ratio to CinemaScope. I'm doing CinemaScope because this is a 2x stretch, okay? If you scroll up, you have a lot more options. Spoiler alert. So for now, CinemaScope, okay, and bam. There goes your 3.55. Holy schnitzel. That's super wide. Super. That's super. Okay, so that's 3.55. We're good to go. It matches our 3.55 there. If you want, you can try to scale it. See if it does anything. Bottom right corner again. Image scaling. Do some cropping if you have some more room. At this time, there's no absolutely room. According to this, if you do a 2x anamorphic lens on a 16 by 9, you will get a 3.55 stretch or footage. But what if you want to change this to a regular 2.39 or 2.4? That's totally cool, and that's why we did the scaling. So now what we're going to do is go to bottom right. All right, you're probably thinking to yourself, dude, this is way too wide. I don't want it to look like this. Let me just get the normal anamorphic out of this. So we go to Master Settings, click the drop down. We're going to scroll down because there's actually a preset. Okay. Scope 3.9. Scope 3.9. Since this was shot at a 4K resolution, I can actually do this one and I will be okay with it. There you go. Right, so what I'm going to do is drop this into the timeline now. Just make sure that you guys are seeing this properly. Drag it in that timeline. And there you go. Okay? So, as you can see, it crops a lot. And this is one of the reasons why having a 4:3 mode on a camera works a lot better in some situations. And I'll talk about that in a second. A native 4:3 sensor that has anamorphic mode is a lot better than shooting 16 by 9 because you're losing a lot of detail. So if I Control F, that's your regular 2.39. Okay? Now, somebody asked me before, hey man, and I think it was actually Skeen. So he said, which mode should I shoot in the Pocket 4K? Should I shoot the anamorphic mode in the camera, or should I shoot something else? And this is what I told him. I told him to shoot at higher resolutions such as DCI 4K or 3840 by 2160 because I actually have room to move left and right for reframing. This is one of the reasons why I shoot 3840 by 2160. I have more wiggle room to reframe. Okay? If I were to shoot anamorphic mode in the Pocket 4K right now, what you see is what you get in this aspect ratio. Okay? Additionally, when shooting at higher resolution, you will get more quality, bitrate, or whatnot. What we just did, we just turned a 16:9 footage into a anamorphic 2.4. I just showed you both ways on how to do it. Okay, so this is 2 times stretch on a 16:9. Now let's move on. Let's delete this one. Let's go back to my footage. I'll tab 2.66, 1920 by 720. This right here, I've done before. It looks really good too, actually. Now, for 2.66 and 3.55, I suggest having a 2 times stretch lens, because 1.33, 1.5 is just not, it just doesn't do it for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and do 2.66. Similar method. Right click bottom right in the gear, master settings. Let's do 4K, because I know some of you guys shoot 4K. 4096, divided by 2.66. That's 1540. Just make it even on like odd numbers. There. And we're going to go ahead and drag and drop that same footage. Boom. Okay, so right click just to make sure everything is good. CinemaScope, yep, we got a 2 times stretch on that lens. Zoom in. Okay, nope, that's all we can do. Okay, just making sure. It's always good to make sure. But look, this is a lot wider than your regular 2.39. And you can still reframe. Alright, 2.66 matches 2.66. This is probably the widest I would go, to be honest. I've done 3.55, 2.66. That's pretty sweet spot. That looks really cool to me, especially if there's some type of distortion on the lens itself, which I can't afford. So what we're going to do now is look at sirui 50mm 1.33 stretch on a 16:9. Looking at this image, a 1.33 stretch, okay, like the sirui lens, on a 16:9 sensor resolution will yield you 2.35 or 2.4. Okay, let's go ahead, test that out. Bottom right corner, let's change our resolution. Let's go ahead and go with scope again. Let's just do, since it was just HD, let's just do this. Same thing, press save. Okay, we're not going to use that clip anymore because that's a different one. We're going to go down to just this one. So go to my timeline. Right, so I have this clip. This was shot with a sirui 50mm with a 16:9 sensor. Resolution, right click, clip attributes, and you guessed it, I'm going to go to 1.33. Press OK. Boom. Drag and drop it. There. Zoom in. There you go. It's just on the view that has the black bars. Here should be fine. And that is your 2.35 using a 1.33 lens on a HD 1920 by 1080 16:9 aspect ratio. One thing you'll notice on YouTube, somebody does it wrong and exports wrong when you control F on a full screen and you see black bars on the left and on the right. You see that there's no black bars here in my monitor? You'll know that they exported it wrong when you see the black bars on the left and the right. So yeah, this is why I'm showing you this. Now my phone has 2.4 aspect ratio. So when I watch my anamorphic videos on my phone, you see it from left to right. There's no bars on the left or right. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty sweet. It takes up the whole space on my phone. Moving on. I'm sorry this is getting long, but this video should explain a lot of stuff about anamorphics. At least I'm hoping. Okay. So we have this memorized. We have our choices. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just stick with 2.39, which we already do. We're going to switch this up to 4K. Scope. Save. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take a look at our other files. Move this up. So a good friend over there, Skin Films, probably butchering that name. We'll take a look at his test shot, vazen, Blackmagic Raw, Pocket 4K. Now he is using the anamorphic mode in the Pocket 4K because you can 2880 by 2160. All right, that's the resolution of the camera, straight from the camera. You can do this so that you can actually see on the back of your monitor on the camera the proper desqueeze footage. It's very smart. Makes it easier. If you don't have a monitor, you should probably shoot in anamorphic mode in camera and desqueeze it there because you can do it there. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. We're going to go to our timeline, drag and drop. And you can already see something's not right. Okay, that's fine. We can go right click, clip attributes. Now this was with the vazen. The vazen has a 1.8 stretch. So scroll up, 1.8, okay, and boom. Just like that, perfect. Align, look at that. That looks great. Now this black bar here on the left, that's just DaVinci Resolve. But you can see that the footage is properly desqueezed on a 2.39, 2.4 aspect ratio. Now you can go 2 times if you want. All right, if you want to go with a full cinema scope, that's totally fine. But you'll see that her body expands a little bit, got a little bit wider. Well, that's because it's the wrong stretch factor. So be careful with that. If you're using a 1.8 stretch, go with a 1.8. Look, it's perfect. Okay, there you go. He's testing the vazen lens right now, actually, with the Pocket 4K. Moving on to the rest of our footage. We're going to go here again, and we're going to take a look at, let's see what we got left. Where I did that. This one. Okay, so this shot right here was with my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Same thing that he did, 2880 by 2160, but this is with a 2-time stretch. You do the same exact thing, CinemaScope, it's going to be the same exact thing, okay? So, that's that. Nothing changes. You can do the same thing I just did previously. What we're going to look at now is the Arri cameras, all right? So you can download these files in the Arri website, but I want to go over this because this is the real deal. What I've been doing ever since till today is just kind of DIY anamorphic, trying to make it by because I can't afford a $97,000 or $118,000 camera. But we have the footage here, and I'm going to show you, the way the pros do it, I guess. So what you're looking at here, remember I told you that having a 4:3 sensor or 4:3 anamorphic mode on a camera is the best way to go about when shooting anamorphics, because it gives you a lot more resolution on the top and bottom. You see this? It's a square. It's 4:3. Actually, if you look here, you'll see it. See that? Same thing. This is an actual 4:3 mode in the Arri Alexa Mini. Okay? Same resolution, but it's actually 4:3. That means it's capturing a lot more than you would on the Pocket 4K. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and play around with this camera. It's just taking pretty much all the space. It just doesn't look right. So, what do? Right click, clip attributes. Instead of square, CinemaScope, because this is a 2-time stretch. I looked in the descriptions. The lens was a 2-time stretch. Okay, and boom. Control F. Properly desqueezed, and that looks. This is ProRes. That looks absolutely amazing, and you got a little bit more leeway there actually. So let's go bottom right. Yeah, that's scope 239, but That's crazy. You have a little bit of extra resolution there. So if you were doing this for a scope, I would honestly scale it down so it fills the whole thing. You don't have any weird black bars. Additionally, you can just go image scaling, scale full frame with crop. That would do the same exact thing I just did. So yeah, that's it. That is how the pros do it. Okay, so moving on to the last clip that we have. Same thing, but this time around, this is the Arri, one of the newest Arri Alexa. I think it's one of the $85,000 body only one. No, this is the LF. I'm pretty sure this one is the LF, which is their high end right now. So what that camera does, it actually has an anamorphic scope mode, which lets you record an anamorphic without any further desqueezing in post. And you're looking at it right now. Top right, 4096 by 716. Okay, we're going to go to master settings, 4096 by 716. That's it. That is recorded with a 2x stretch lens, and it just fits right on in there. That's it. Just drag and drop. All right? All right? If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys later.